What's up, everyone? It's Scotty with MoneyVest. So markets here continue to rip higher to a new all-time high, with the S&P here hitting as high as 48.39, the NASDAQ up over 1.7% to 15,130, and the Dow Jones also pushing up over 1% on Friday, pushing up to 37,800, almost approaching 38,000 level. So I'm going to give you guys a complete update on the markets here in this video. Also go over how hedge funds are now on a net basis super long, the longest they have been in over 7 years on the NASDAQ. So hope you all enjoyed this video and find it helpful. If you do, make sure that you drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you're just joining us for the first time, again, links to our Discord and Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining, and of course getting access to all the members only private videos, all the buy and sell alerts, Discord alerts, all the options alerts, trade ideas, and intrinsic values, our watch list, our fair values. Everything's going to be included, with a couple more spots left for the month of January. And that 16% annual discount also available until the end of this month. So again, link's going to be down below. We'd love to have you on board. So this right here is the markets. So again, a very, very strong momentum coming in. Lots of buyers stepping back in, and markets expectation for interest rates have been dialed back a little bit. And now the market's only pricing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rate cuts, with a delayed cut happening in May, not in March anymore. So markets are starting to recalibrate a little bit of those expectations from of course the Federal Reserve, as they have pointed to 3 rate cuts in their summary of economic projections, and now the market's only pricing in 5 rate cuts in 2024. Now that is not as bad. Earlier it was as high as 7, with the first cut coming in March. So we are certainly starting to once again realign ourselves with what the Federal Reserve is telling us. But I'm actually quite surprised the market did rally after the rate cuts are being dialed back a little bit, with only 5 rate cuts being priced in now, and the market's continue to see a lot of momentum upwards. Now this right here is the net positions on the NASDAQ, which is the highest we have seen in over 7 years. So going back as far as 2017, this was the highest level from back in 2017, and now we are seeing the highest once again at over 50. That's going to be, I believe, million contracts on the NASDAQ 100. That's the net positions that the hedge funds are currently long on the market. So very, very strong optimism, lots of bullishness, and lots of buying activity taking place on the NASDAQ. This right here, buying pressure. So long-term trend line signals stock bulls are still snapping up shares. So once again, we continue to see a lot of momentum upside, with, of course, Semiconductor kind of leading the way, because NVIDIA, AMD, we had Broadcom, we had Micron, Intel, Qualcomm, a lot of these semiconductor chip stocks pushing higher pretty aggressively, up a little bit over the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%. We had Google and Meta also pushing higher very nicely. Amazon was up, Apple was up, Microsoft, Adobe. We had entire tech and comm services along with financials, and of course, consumer cyclical sectors pushing higher, industrials, real estate. So it was a very, very broad-based rally, except for a little bit of healthcare plan companies. So UNH, CVS, we did have some of those companies pulling back, and a little bit of consumer defensives and staples starting to roll over, but everything else was very, very green in the market. So again, you'll notice all sectors in the S&P 500 were green, except for consumer defensives, which were slightly down. In the last 1 week, of course, we have seen a little bit of a split market. Again, technology and comm services leading the way and pushing higher. Everything else is slightly down. In the last 1 month, of course, we again have seen communication services, technology, healthcare, financials, consumer defensives, all pushing higher, with utilities, energy, and basic materials rolling over. So there's been a little bit more of a split market in the last 1 month, but of course, on the day, very, very strong rally coming in and broad participation. Orange juice, we got oats and cocoa prices, coffee, sugar, everything pushing higher, with the VIX and natural gas and soybean. Heating oil starting to pull back, and we got Bitcoin here just over 41,500, and Ether just under 2,500 as well. So the Federal Reserve to cut rates 8 times in 2 years to avoid tipping the economy over by Bank of America. So the Fed will slash interest rates 8 times over the next 2 years is what Bank of America is predicting, and officials will want to avoid tipping the economy over with its policy, and the New York Fed is pricing in a 63% chance the economy could enter a recession by the end of the year. So again, those recession expectations have continued over the years, and we are also starting to see the uninversion of the yield curve as the spread now starts to turn back positive between the 10 and the 2-year, and the Federal Reserve could end up slashing interest rates 8 times over the next 2 years to prop up the U.S. economy, but the U.S. economy continues to be pretty strong. I mean, GDP numbers are still coming in pretty solid here, and Bank of America is forecasting the Fed will issue to 4 rate cuts in 2024 and in 2025 4 more. And then, of course, we're seeing that implies 200 basis points of rate cuts to come over the next few years, and taking the Fed's benchmark rate down to 3.25% and 3.5% range for the federal funds rate. And those cuts will be necessary to bow the U.S. economy. And while 8 cuts seem like an aggressive pace for monetary easing, the Fed slashing interest rates at that caliber actually would still be keeping rates higher for longer to control inflation. And of course, we already has been historically low in a decade before that as well. So that's really where we are with respect to the market's expectations. Now going over to the S&P 500, before we do that, crude oil here continues to consolidate sideways at $70, $73, $74 a barrel. So that's really where we are. Lots of consolidation sideways in between that range for crude oil, and the resistance is going to be all the way up to $80, $81 per barrel. So that is going to be that next target and that next resistance level to watch, and support level is going to stay put at $72, $71 a barrel. So that's pretty much going to be that support that we are kind of consolidating sideways on, and resistance and target is going to be up to $80, $81 a barrel. Volatility continues to slide lower, so we are down close to 6% again on Friday, trading down to as low as 13.3. So this right here inside this red rectangle is going to be the volatility level. That's the level to really be paying attention to, and that is going to be very, very important for the VIX. And of course, targets are going to be all the way up to 18 to 20. So those right there are going to be some levels to watch for volatility. Of course, lots of consolidation sideways. It's been a little bit more muted over the last several months here, considering how the markets have continued to drift higher and higher. But again, if you do see a spike back up to 18, 20 for any reason, we do have the Federal Reserve's meeting at the end of this month. Anything can happen at that meeting. Of course, if you do see a spike back up, that's going to be our signal to once again dollar cost average into the market. That's going to be our signal to start buying up stocks. Once again, that's going to open up our discount window to start dollar cost averaging, like I said, and deploying cash into the markets once again. Bitcoin here continues to struggle a little bit. So it's gotten rejected at that $47,000, $48,000 level ever since the ETFs have finally been approved and are now trading. Bitcoin has not seen a lot of inflow in liquidity. Instead, if anything, it's basically dropped over 15, 16% and trading just over $41,000 at the moment. So that is going to be that target and that resistance inside this red rectangle to watch for BTC. For Ethereum here, on the other hand, starting to pull back as well. Support level is going to stay put at 2,400 down to 2,100. So inside this green rectangle is going to be that level to watch for Ether. And of course, target and resistance all the way up to $3,500 as well. So that is going to be that next resistance and target, and support level, of course, inside this green rectangle for Ether as well. Now going over to the markets, and before we do that, let's just quickly go over to SMH and some of the other sort of semiconductor stocks, because they have absolutely been crushing it in the markets and the entire semi stock watch list. I mean, SMCI up 36% in one single day. So absolutely incredible move to the upside. Market cap now 23 billion. Super microcomputer, as you guys know, was one of the picks that we had in 2023, and since then it has rallied over 300%, because we talked about it, I believe, back in June, July of 2023, and since then, of course, you'll notice the stock is up over 165%, might even be earlier, but it has done incredibly well. It was extremely profitable business in the small cap sector, did not have a lot of eyeballs on this company, and of course, as soon as it did, it's just absolutely been ripped higher. Advanced Micro Devices, we started buying not too long ago in the low 100s. I'm up like 60 or 70% on the remainder of my position, up over 7% on the day. So it's done incredibly well. So congratulations to anyone who's been able to take advantage of Advanced Micro Devices, not to mention, of course, NVIDIA pushing up another 4% to almost $600 per share. So incredible moves to the upside. Qualcomm also pushing up 4.5%. Applied Materials up 4.7%. Lam Research up 5%. So the entire semiconductor sector, including SMH, up a little bit over 3.8%, almost 4%, which of course we started the experiment and dollar cost averaging into SMH as well. And I believe I'm up a little bit over 22-25% on this ETF as well. So huge shout out to semiconductors. I mean, this has just been an incredible and a phenomenal rally to the upside, and for the right reasons, because this is where a lot of the opportunity is. This is the most important component of tech, is semi basically. Chips are the brain of any technology. Without the brains, you can't do anything, right, with technology and with anything related to technology. So these are the companies that are kind of leading the way in this particular sector, and they deserve to basically move higher. Of course, you can argue valuations, you can argue technicals, you can argue a lot of different things, but the bottom line is they have seen a lot of momentum. There's been a lot of optimism around these companies, and they have pushed higher. They've rallied for the right reasons. So going over to the S&P 500, 500 now. So SPX pushing up to, I believe it just hit a new all-time high. Yes, it did. So brand new all-time high for the S&P. Congratulations, everyone. We finally did it. And I mentioned this in my other video that I'm confident the S&P is going to close out at an all-time high. It's very possible that we hit a new all-time high very, very soon. And we finally did at over 4,840 level on the S&P 500. So huge congratulations. This is a big moment for all the bulls we've had, and we've been through a lot in 2022. This is a very, very significant bear market, and 2023, including 2024, has been nothing but an amazing recovery for the markets back up to all-time highs. So we're in price discovery now. For those of you who don't know what price discovery is, we just need to wait and see where that next resistance is going to be, because there's going to be a lot of friction between the buyers and the sellers, between supply and demand, and we need to just wait and see where S&P gets rejected next and where does it come down to from a support standpoint. Talking about the NASDAQ here, also pushing higher very nicely, up over 1.7%, so 15,300 here, so very, very strong move to the upside. And of course, it's coming up to that resistance now at 15,100. Still got a little bit of ways to go for its all-time highs, so it still needs to rally another 5.7, almost 6% in order to get back up to its all-time highs here, which I also believe, I'm confident that the NASDAQ can indeed do that if semis and, of course, technology continues to make a move higher. Apple here with a very nice recovery and a breakout over 190, so we had a trade on this. We still have that trade going on, and the next target and resistance is going to be a 198 for Apple, so this right here is going to be that next resistance and target level to watch for Apple, and a very nice recovery and a support level at the 200 SMA, bouncing right off of that support very, very nicely. We talked about the RSI, we talked about the MACD, we talked about the fact that it's trading at a support at that 200 SMA, so we're seeing a very nice recovery back up for Apple, and 198 close to $200 is going to be that next resistance level to watch. Talking about Amazon here also moving higher, up a little bit over 1.2%. So next target and resistance is going to be at a close to $161 per share. So that is going to be that next level to watch for Amazon. And of course, we're starting to see a little bit of breakout over 155. So we'll go ahead and turn this level back into a support all the way down to as low as this higher low at close to $143 per share for Amazon. So very nice consistent uptrend of higher highs and higher lows for Amazon as well. Talking about Tesla, and Tesla here also seeing a little bit of that momentum intraday, but of course it's been selling off quite aggressively, so very, very oversold right now on the RSI, on the MACD. So of course it's just been trending downwards, lower highs and lower lows. I've done a couple videos on Tesla, dedicated videos on Tesla, so definitely do check those out if you haven't already, because that will give you a little bit of an understanding on where we are with respect to Tesla as well. So that is going to be that support, the low 200 levels and resistance all the way up to 240. And the RSI MACD, considering how oversold it is, there is possibility for us to see that reversal for Tesla going into the next couple of weeks. Of course, next week, Tesla is reporting their earnings as well. So very, very big day for Tesla with respect to earnings. And I will be doing another video going over earnings expectations and how it could react prior to the earnings as well. So next target and resistance at $240. Talking about PayPal, and PayPal here on the day, also very nicely green, up over 6%. Alex Chris basically said that they're going to shock the world on earnings, which was making headlines, which was one of the reasons why PayPal basically moved higher the way it did. I don't know if the catalyst is going to be over here. Let's just see over here. Let's see if there's any news. So 25 years ago, at the dawn of the internet, PayPal was created, blah, blah, blah. If you come down, it doesn't say that, but okay, there we go. Maybe over here. The PayPal CEO joined CNBC's Squawk Box on Wednesday and discusses the upcoming event and said the company will, quote, shock the world, and which, of course, could be anything, but PayPal is not done, folks. I've mentioned this before. It's got very solid revenue, free cash flows, earnings, balance sheet. Everything is good for the company from a fundamental standpoint, but the stock price continues to get hammered for no apparent reason. And this is the first time we're starting to see it break out of that 200 simple moving average. And of course, that next target, that next resistance is going to be at that 100 simple moving average at $67, $68. We got a little bit of a gap to fill over here for PayPal as well. And the next target is going to be all the way up to $76 per share. I can't believe we're finally talking about 70s for PayPal. We're there. But $76, $77 is going to be that next resistance to watch for PayPal. Talking about Visa, and Visa here continues to move higher, up another 1% to $270. A very, very strong momentum, very nice move to the upside. RSI, MACD also very overbought here. Support level is going to stay put inside this green rectangle in the $245 and $250 range. So that is going to be that area of demand, area of support, and a very nice momentum higher for Visa as well. So very strong, momentum, of course, getting up to that resistance below the top off rally with an overbought RSI and MACD as well. Talking a little bit about NVIDIA and NVIDIA AMD, we've already talked about it, but doesn't hurt to go over it more than once. Very strong breakout, of course, from this ascending triangle, hitting new all-time highs, very overbought RSI, MACD. I would just caution everyone to be careful, of course. $1.45 trillion market cap, and of course the price itself trading almost at $600 per share. So congratulations, enjoy the ride while you can, because of course, as we know with everything in the markets, nothing lasts forever. Advanced micro devices also up 7%, incredibly overbought now, so got to be super careful. Market cap now approaching close to $300 billion, so very, very nice move to the upside, hitting a new all-time high, of course, at close to over $174 per share. So bottom line is these stocks have rallied quite well, overbought, extended on the technical basis. Valuations also pretty extended on a fundamental basis. So just got to be super careful. If you're holding it like I am, I'm just enjoying the ride, maybe selling some calls against my shares. But of course, certainly not buying anything here because of the prices and where they're trading at the moment. Talking about Meta platforms, and Meta, I believe, also almost hit a new all-time high. Almost, I think I think it did. $384, and this has been a long journey, folks. I mean, incredible recovery for Meta, and it's kind of funny that it hits the all-time high at the same time as the S&P 500, and the recovery has been nothing but an amazing, extraordinary run for Meta, coming from low 80s, and of course, a lot of people wrote off this stock quite a lot, and of course, it's done really well, pushing up from low 80s all the way up to new all-time highs, and it's up over 329%. So congratulations to everyone who held on, had the conviction in the Meta that it's going to recover and do well. New all-time highs. Huge congrats. Next one on the list is going to be Netflix, and Netflix here just consolidating sideways a little bit, still within the context of this uptrend, so higher highs and higher lows. Support level is going to stay put inside this green rectangle over here in the 450s, and of course resistance all the way up to 490, close to $500 per share for Netflix. So a little bit of that resistance getting rejected right over there, so pulling back. Support level is going to stay put roughly at 445, 450 for Netflix as well. So lots of consolidation sideways, and next target, next resistance is going to be up to $571 per share for Netflix. Talking about Google here, and Google also having a huge breakout to the upside, up a little bit over 2%. Next target and next resistance is going to be $150. So this right here is going to be that level to keep in mind for Google, and support level is going to stay put at 140 down to $144, $145 per share. Very nice move to the upside. Still got a little bit of ways to go before it hits a new all-time high. And like I said, support level is going to stay put down to 140 down to $144 per share for Google. And finally, we got Microsoft, Costco, Enphase. Microsoft also hitting a new all-time high. There's just a lot of stocks to mention here that are hitting new all-time highs, almost coming up to its $3 trillion market cap, and support level is going to stay put at 384, as we know. Price discovery, because of how new all of this is for Microsoft shareholders, traders, investors. It's never really traded up to $400 a share. RSI, MACD, of course, a little bit more on the overbought side for Microsoft as well. So support level is going to stay put down to 384, down to 366. And finally, we come down to Enphase and Costco. Enphase still struggling a little bit, down almost 3%, coming down to low 100s. I believe this is, coming down to pretty oversold levels here. We already talked about how it was very overbought at over 140, 130s, and now, of course, has dropped over 27, 28%. So next target, next support really is going to be down to $92, $93 per share. As unfortunate as it is, that is going to be a support level to watch for Enphase. And of course, we got Costco. That keeps on crushing it, hitting new all-time highs, almost at $700 per share. Incredible move to the upside with a very overbought RSI and MACD as well. Support level is going to stay put it down to $644, down to $588 for Costco at the moment as well. So hope you all enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. That's all I'm asking in return. And the markets, new all-time high, folks. Congratulations to everyone. It's been a long journey getting back up to all-time highs, and I'm super happy and blessed that we were able to witness this entire run-up in 2023 and 2024. Of course, also witnessed 2022. Those were the times. And I remember we talked about a lot of things back in 2022 live streams, that the bear markets are not going to be there forever. The bull markets are not going to be there forever. It's all going to ebb and flow. It's all cycles. It's all a part of nature. And that's how things operate. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it helpful. Make sure that you drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Link to our Discord, Patreon is going to be down below if you're interested in joining us. Of course, getting access to all the members-only private videos, the buy and sell alerts, options alerts, trade ideas, everything's going to be included. As always, happy investing. I'll see you all in the next video.